Now what I'm going to do is open up Eco version 6 and just kind of walk through the project creation steps where you can see how you navigate the location if we wanted to set up a demonstration project for New Delhi. So this is the launch screen that Eco version 6 leaves you at, and I'm not going to explain these steps in great detail because this is all things that you can find in the manual for setting up a new project. And I'm just going to use complete inventory, and we'll put this on the desktop and give it a project name. So one of the things that you'll see is the project name is somewhat important because this is what will identify the name of the project that you'll see in many of the reports. So whatever you type in here is what you'll see at the top of a lot of the reports. And so think about that because that's something that's a little bit hard to do. You can change it, but you have to come back and do some editing. So that's what we're going to use, is just call it New Delhi demonstration. We'll say it's a demo. And now I'm going to set up the location. So this is where if you had, say like the United Kingdom, they have all these options in here. And some places that aren't set up, you won't find that. So if we go to India, it's going to be very limited. So this is a new location that somebody set up for Rajamundry. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And so we can see that there is another location that somebody recently set up for Mumbai. And so you can see that there's population information once I populate that, but there's not a whole lot more beyond that. And then there's National Capital Territory, Southwest Delhi, and this is the Dwarka location. So this is what we have to choose from. This is what's available for locations in India. And the reason why we can use Dwarka is because Eco is going to use this location to allow us to select a weather station. So if we were to say, let's choose Mumbai, and you can see here it's telling you you only have weather. There's no pollution data. So when we hit show map, it's going to bring us to Mumbai to select a local weather station. But it's also going to use growth characteristics for Mumbai. So now Delhi is further north, or New Delhi is further north. So we're probably better off using Dwarka because it's nearby. So you could certainly pick Mumbai, but the characteristics of Mumbai might be different just because it's further south too, and it's coastal. So it might be more of a difference in terms of the climate. Now keep in mind, we're not going to get pollution modeling, and the precipitation modeling is going to be underestimated. So those are going to be of little value. But we will get carbon, and carbon is going to be based on the growing season. So this is why we're going to use Dwarka instead, just because of the proximity to New Delhi. And I'll just have to manually enter population, and we'll say urban, and here. So now it's using Dwarka, even though I call this New Delhi. And then when I ask it to show my map, what you can see that it's doing is I zoom in, the map takes me to Dwarka, but here's New Delhi. So it's really the proximity here. I'm not going to have that much of a difference unless there's a major difference in elevation or some other reason that the growing season would be different, that much different from New Delhi, but that's not going to affect the carbon estimations and the oxygen production. Even though there are local differences in pollution, maybe there are differences in rainfall, but you're not going to see rainfall because we don't have accurate precipitation data. So when we mouse over these and click, you can see here it tells you this is at Indira Gandhi International Airport, and right now there's no precipitation data at all. So this is 0 6-hour and 0 hourly data in the NCDC weather set. So then we can try this other station here, and so this is telling us that it is only 155 milliliters, but there is some rainfall, so at least we'd get some readings here. So we'll go ahead and select this one, and it's actually closer to New Delhi anyway, or central New Delhi here. So that's really something that users make depending on where they're doing their project. Say if we were doing the project in western New Delhi, maybe then if we had good precipitation data, we would then use the Indira Gandhi Airport. So the only option you have available in ECO is to select your weather station. The pollution data, once that is entered into iTree database, that will be specified by the application based on the location. So you do not get to select where your pollution data comes from. You only get to select your weather station. So pollution is hard-coded when it's available based on the location. But you have this option of selecting weather, and in some cases you might have more years weather in the future that you can go in and see, was there a particularly dry month or wet month, or a wet year I should say, that you could then see how the trees interacted in their environment based on different types of seasons. And so then we would just set up what are the variables that we want for data collection, and so we would just click on those things that we are interested in capturing, and I'm just turning on a couple. Again here, species DBH are our absolute required fields, and then ECO says some of these fields here are highly recommended because these help with ecosystem services. Now in the case where we don't have pollution modeling and we don't have accurate precipitation data, many of these aren't going to be of great value. So carbon modeling, actually tree height does help a great deal. So that is one variable where we still can get carbon, oxygen production, which is part of sequestration estimate. So tree height, if you wanted to collect that or have that available, that certainly helps. But usually species, tree diameter, and condition, or in ECO it's crown health, are somewhat of the minimums. Land use is somewhat easy to collect, so we can do that too. So these are all optional variables, and the side panels, and if you scroll down there's an explanation of what many of these variables are. In most cases for a demonstration project you'd want to keep it somewhat simple, but you could certainly turn on the mapping coordinates are very helpful for collecting data. It allows you, if you have good internet connection, to actually GPS or use a tap and a map feature to collect data. So this is how you would set up a simple project for New Delhi, but using the nearby Dwarka location and understanding that it's not going to impact the ecosystem services that we have available to us. And as I go ahead and move forward through this, you'll see that this is generating this chart telling me all these different reports aren't going to be available because we don't have variables turned on or we don't have data available. And so at this point here I could do more project configuration, or I could even just start entering trees and then processing them. So data entry, or I could set this up for data collection to work with crews. There's many different things. Once we have that, using the submit to mobile, I could then submit a data collection form that people could use to collect data. and then submit this back to the project. But that's a lot to get into right now, so we're not going to do that. So I'm going to stop right here real quickly, and then we'll just pop open a project to show you what it looks like when it's processed.